Hi friends, welcome in or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley if this is your first time here, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. Today we are doing the beginning of the year book tag. This tag was created by LarryReads here on YouTube, and I absolutely adore her. And when I saw that she posted her video, I immediately thought, I need to do that. I loved all the questions, and it just really got me thinking about what I want out of my reading year for 2025. So I'm not going to waste any time with some big long intro. We're just going to hop right into the questions and my answers. So the first question is, how many books do you plan on reading in 2025? When I first started back reading and I used Goodreads, my thought process was, let's just keep upping my goal for each year. But something clicked last year and my thought process was just to keep it at 52 books. That's what I set my reading goal to every year, and there's 52 weeks in a year. That gives me the ability to read a book a week, and that feels doable without putting too much pressure on myself. The amount of books you read a year really doesn't matter as long as you're enjoying what you read, and that's kind of like where I stand. So if I hit 52, great. If I go over it, great. If I don't hit it, great. As long as I'm reading books that I love, that's really all that matters. The next question is a book that you would likely reread this year. So the first book that I would like to reread this year is Through the Wicked Wood by Kristen Moore. And I would like to reread this one because I did get the second book in the series in the last quarter, I believe. And there's also a companion novella that goes with this. I absolutely adore this book the first time I read it. I read it on my Kindle, and I would like to read it physically and annotate. The next book, I've already reread it, but I'm holding it up because I plan to reread the series, and that is From Blood and Ash. So me and my friend Kathleen, we decided to read this series together. She's never read the books. I have read up until A War of Two Queens and then the first book in the prequel series. I've already reread From Blood and Ash, and we already finished A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, and this week we plan on doing The Crown of Gilded Bones. But again, this is one that I would hope to be able to finish, like the series this year, from what Jennifer L. Armentrout already has out. I think there's another book due to release this year. It would be great to be caught up in the series before that comes out, so we shall see. The next book series that I would like to reread is Bared to You by Sylvia Day. This is the first book in one of my all-time favorite romance series, and I've been craving a reread for so long. I do have a couple ideas about doing a video series of me reading these books, and I don't know if I want to do it in just like one big long video and just collect the clips as I read them and then release it when I'm done, or if I want to do a video per book. Also, Sylvia Day is releasing, I don't want to call it a spin-off series, maybe it is, but the sisters who Gideon in these books, now she is getting her own series, and Sylvia Day is releasing that in April of this year. So I would love to get through these books before that came up. And then the last book that I'm going to be rereading this year is Pucking Around. Now, I had already planned on doing a reread of this because I just miss these characters, and this book is my favorite from what has been released thus far. But I also have Puck and Sweet, which Emily Rath released late last year. And also, so exciting, me, Kathleen, and another friend, Catherine, we are doing a traveling buddy read, and basically we all picked a book. We're going to read that book and annotate it ourselves, and then we're going to mail them to each other. We're going to rotate the books where we will all be annotating our copies. And so this is the book that I chose, so it'll have my annotations and their annotations once we're done and we get them back, and I'm so excited. We saw the idea on TikTok and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to do that. and I cannot wait. I do plan on vlogging that experience and creating a whole video around it. But yeah, it's so exciting, and I cannot wait to reread this book and set me up for book 3. The next question is, what is a priority read for you in 2025? And like I just mentioned, my main priority read is Fucking Sweet. I'm so excited to get into this book. I feel like it's going to be full of banter and really good spice, and I cannot wait to see how this book plays out, especially knowing who the main characters are that we're following in this book. And then the next highly anticipated read is House of Bane and Blood, and it's mainly because I've only heard excellent things about this story, and I just want to know what the hype is about. So it is on my book cart as a highly anticipated read, and I cannot wait to get to it. The next question is an author you won't be reading more books from in 2025. I don't really have anybody who like fell into this category. I didn't read anybody last year where I was like, absolutely not, I would never give them another chance. I do have my list of people that, you know, I'm not gonna read their books, but I don't feel like rehashing it here because I'm just not gonna read them. But yeah, I don't really have anybody that just like fell into that category in 2024. The next question is something new that you want to read in 2025, and for this, I'm going to say sci-fi. I do have a couple of sci-fi books, like 3, and but the main one that I want to read is Gideon the Ninth. I have heard nothing but good things about this, but I've also heard that it's super confusing in the beginning just because you don't know like what's going on. I guess a lot like any other fantasy book, but I'm pretty sure this falls under sci-fi. But I would like to read some sci-fi books this year, and yeah. So the next question is a popular book you want to read, and I pulled this from my book cart. If you've watched my organizing my bookshelves video, you know that my book cart is just full of books that I plan to read this year. And so with this question, I picked the most popular books that I'm most interested in from what I put over there. And I feel like I'm leaving some off, but I'm keeping it to 3. The first book is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I purchased this at the end of the year last year, and I really want to read it. I haven't heard a bad thing about this book. Anybody that's ever talked about it said that it's so good, and it features tropes that people usually don't like, but it's done so well in this book. The next popular book that I want to read is King of Wrath by Anna Wong, and I have read her Twisted Love book. That's the only one that I read in that series. I am thinking about continuing it because I've heard that it gets better as the series goes along. So if I can get it on KU or through the library, I will. But I have heard that this book is different than that series, and that this series is really good. I'm pretty sure these are billionaire romances, so like that speaks to me right up my alley. I'm really hoping that I like this book and that this allows me to give Anna Wong a new chance, and yeah. And then the last book that I absolutely plan to get to this year is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I've heard nothing, literally nothing but great things about this book, and I want to know what the hype is about. I feel like I would like the concept. I've read the synopsis many a times. I just have not made the time to read it because I feel like it's one that I'll have to like really sit and concentrate so that I can feel the emotions that the author wanted the reader to feel. But I am very excited. This is another highly anticipated read for me this year. I didn't put it in the other question because this is an extremely popular book, but I'm excited to read this and I hope I love it. The next question is most anticipated release of 2025, and I don't really keep up with releases. I know of a few here and there, especially if I'm already in the series, but there's not like I don't actually look out for what's coming and what's new. I just wait till it's released and announced and see if it piques my interest, and then I'll grab it. But I'm aware of some, and I did want to add it to this list. So the first one obviously is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I have read Fourth Wing, and I don't want to say mixed feelings. I got the popularity, I got the hype around it, but that book stuck with me for quite some time. I already have Iron Flame, but I have not read it yet, and I do plan to do a reread of Fourth Wing, read Iron Flame, and read Onyx Storm whenever it comes out. I'm just going to purchase it on my Kindle like I have the other two, and yeah, go with the love. The next new release that I'm pretty excited about is Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I feel like this is going to be a hit because it's her. I love her writing. I'm very excited for something new from her. So yeah, I do plan to read it eventually. I don't know how soon I'll buy it in relation to when it's released, but I am excited about it. The last book that has been on my radar is Beg, Borrow, Steal by Sarah Adams. It's already been released this year, and I have purchased it. I'm just waiting on it to come in. It is the third book in the When in Rome series. I gave the first book 5 stars and the second book 4.5 stars. After I read it, I really love it. Amazing writing, and I cannot wait to read more about the characters in this series. The next question is a bookish goal for 2025. My main goal for 2025 is to take my time and actually enjoy the books that I'm reading. Yes, I have a Bookstagram. Yes, I have a BookTube channel, but it means nothing if I'm not enjoying what I'm reading and I'm just reading for the hype. I just want to slow down and really like dive into books and feel books, because last year I felt like I rushed through a lot of my reads and I did not enjoy them as much as I feel like I would have if I would have taken my time with them. And so I don't want to make that mistake again this year. My next goal is to read from my shelves. Again, if you watched my last video and you saw my organization and my book count, I have over 300 unread books and I need to read them and keep the books on my shelves that bring me joy, that make me happy. And yeah, that's my goal. The next question is a book that's been on your TBR that you probably won't read. This is so crazy, but I understand it. And I said this last year, I believe, in a video, but that book for me is Babel by R.F. Kuang. A part of me feels like I'm not smart enough to read this book. This is highly acclaimed. I really want to know, does it live up to the hype? Is it worth it? Am I going to enjoy it? Is this for me? But I do want to give it a chance, and I do want to try to read it. I don't think I will. I'm just intimidated. So maybe, yes, no, maybe so. I don't know. We will see. The next question is a series that you want to read this year. I have a stack in my lap of series that I would love to get to this year. The first series that I would love to be able to read is the Raven Boy series. I did start it. I just was not in the mindset. I was going through a reading slump and I needed something quick, so I chose my Kindle instead. But I've heard nothing but great things from highly trusted people and I want to read it. So the Raven Cycle is on my series that I would love to read this year. Next is the Shatter Me series. I have read Shatter Me. I love this book when I read it. I own the entire series. I just really love to actually finish this series and, you know, get into this author's work, because I know she has some newer releases that people love, and I find it's something special starting from the beginning of an author's journey and just seeing how their writing progresses. The next series that I want to read is The Cruel Prince. I have had this book series, the entire series, for about 3 or 4 years now, and I need to read it. I want to know what's going on. It's like staple reading for the romantasy girlies, so I do want to prioritize this series. And then the last series that I want to finish the best I can is the Magnolia Park series. This is the third book in the book that I am on. I own this one and I believe the next Daisy Hates book, or the next 2 books. Yeah, there's 2 more books after this one. I own everything that has been released thus far. So I want to catch up in the series, so whenever Jessa decides to release the next book, I will be ready for it. The next question is, who are your auto-buy authors for 2025? I don't really have an auto-buy author list. And I say that because are there authors that when they release a book, I want to read them? Absolutely. Am I just going to buy the book because I love that author? No. It's very hard because if KU is an option, I'm going to utilize KU to read what I want to read. But there are authors that I absolutely love that I would go in blind, not knowing anything about their books, because I have had good experiences before. So let's just call this an ultra love author list and not auto buy. And you know, those authors for me are V.E. Schwab, Kennedy Ryan, Jessa Hastings, Sarah Adams, Talia Hibbert, S.T. Gibson, Q.B. Tyler, Mila Finelli, and I think that's where I am right now. But yeah, those are the authors that have brought me joy. Oh, Lauren Asher. Those are the authors that have brought me joy, and when they announce something, I do want to buy them. Whether or not I will is up for debate, because money and because 300 plus unread books. Priorities. We're trying to be adults, make adult mature decisions in 2025. Next question is a book to show adaptation that you are excited for in 2025. Much like the new releases, I don't really look for book to show to movie adaptations. When it's announced, I'm surprised and I just decide whether or not I'm going to read it. So for this question, I did actually look up. I don't know if these are being adapted in 2025, but these are the adaptations that I would consider myself excited for. The first one is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I read that a couple of years ago. I read it with my mom. I absolutely loved it. I do think that I unhauled it at some point in time, just because I didn't see myself rereading it. I am regretting that decision right now, because knowing that it's going to be turned into a movie, I would love to reread. Maybe I'll check my library for it, but I am excited about that one. I'm also excited about The Inheritance Game. I don't know why my excitement is there. Maybe because I've heard such good things about the series. I personally have not read the series. Book one is on my TBR cart, which I just looked down and I saw 2 other books that should have been listed in the series stack, but I digress. I'm excited about The Inheritance Games. I am also excited about the Fourth Wing TV show or movie adaptation. And then the last adaptation I'm excited for is People We Meet on Vacation. I have not read that book, but I do own it, and I am excited to start my Emily Henry journey whenever that comes to me. To say that I'm excited about adaptation is really weird, because I usually do not like the movie adaptations in comparison to the book, but here we are. The next question is a sequel you are anticipating, and I know this is probably referencing a sequel that will be coming out in 2025, but I'm just using it as a sequel that I already own that I am anticipating reading, and that is Daydream by Hannah Grace. I have loved the first 2 books and I cannot wait to get into this one. The male main character that we're following in this book, I was excited since book 1 to get his story, and that's what this is. So this is highly anticipated for me to get to this year, and I plan to hopefully read it soon. The next question is bookish things that you plan to leave in 2024. So for me, taking number ratings seriously, I keep saying I'm getting away from ratings, but I always say a rating or how I feel, because it's just it's easier to say how you feel about a book by attributing it to stars. But my goal is to leave star ratings in 2024, and talk about the feeling that the book invokes and what stands out to me and what feels good about the book and why I would want someone to read it instead of simply relying on the star rating. The next thing that I'm leaving in 2024 is buying a book based on the vibes or what I see on social media, especially if it's available in my library or on KU for me to read first and actually determine if it's a book that I want to own the physical copy of and reread again or revisit again. I want to be very intentional about the books that I'm bringing into my library and the books that I'm keeping here. I really want a library full of books that I love and I'm excited to talk about, and I have to get away from just buying books because of the hype or because, you know, somebody has talked very highly of it. I'm getting very serious about curating my TBR list, and not like my physical TBR list, but recommendations or books that are on social media that catch my interest, because if there are other ways for me to consume that and decide whether or not I want it, those are the options that I want. And like I said, to spend my money on the books that I have read and enjoy and love, and like take that trophy, the trophy buying to the next level. Another thing that I'm leaving in 2024 is continuing books that I'm not enjoying. At the end of last year, got really good about DNFing books that I was not vibing with and being okay with not knowing how that book ends. And I feel like there's always an opportunity to revisit it if I want to. But if I'm not feeling it and I'm not vibing with it, I need to either DNF or DNF for now if I feel like I'm not in the right headspace for it, because I do feel like, you know, that is a thing. But no more continuing books that I'm not enjoying and not having a good time with. I have too many books on my shelves that I would love to get to and get into and enjoy, and spending time in books that I'm not having fun with is not even worth it. And then the last thing that I'm leaving in 2024 is being influenced by public opinion. And I say that very, I don't want to say loosely, because obviously I get my recommendations from the public. I get my recommendations from what I see on Instagram. But oftentimes I have found that popular books don't really hold up to the hype that they're given. And that's not the book's fault. That's, you know, me deep diving what other people are saying and hyping it up higher in my head and not giving myself the chance to enjoy that book based on how I would feel versus, you know, the hype that the public has given it. I am by no means a book snob. I'm just not. I will read pretty much anything. So I want to be very cautious about what I'm taking in about other books and really focus on like reading for my enjoyment and not to agree or disagree with public opinion. Next question is, what can you expect from this account? First things first is more writing videos. I know I've been saying that for months now, but I really do want to make sure that I am incorporating more writing content on my channel. I'm still working out what that looks like, but it will be coming. And then of course, just more bookish content. I am really hoping that this year is the year that I level up my content, and I'm very intentional about the videos that I'm making and posting, and that they are fun for me and entertaining to watch. And I don't really know what that looks like. I'm still learning. The next question is, how has your reading taste evolved from last year? This is a very hard question because I don't think my reading taste changed. I really do think that I'm still figuring out what I like and don't like. Last year I rushed and sped through a lot of books that I really wish that I would have spent more time in and gave more of an understanding to. And I think my intention of slowing down and enjoying what I'm reading this year is what's going to help me define what I really love and what I really like in a book. The next question is, who are the booktubers that inspire you? And I have a list, but my top ones on BookTube are Stephanie Bookish, LarryReads, Jan Agaton, I may be pronouncing that wrong, and of course Books with Lala. Those are the 4 people that even when I'm not like having time to watch my YouTube videos, when I finally have time to sit down and catch up on the people that I consistently watch, their channels are the ones that I go to and just like binge watch any video that I've ever missed, and then I'll go through the rest of my list and watch past videos. But those are my top booktubers. The last question is something you want to say to anyone wanting to start making bookish content. And my advice is just start and learn as you go. You're not going to know everything up front. It's better to just get started and figure it out, fumble your way through. I think there is something special about seeing the humble beginnings of somebody and then seeing how their content elevates. It took me 6 months to post my first video, and after I did it, I thought, gosh, I should have started this 6 months ago. If you love books and you genuinely love talking about books, do that. Follow that love and go forth and prosper. Also remember that no matter how many booktube accounts there are, there's not going to be someone who has the same opinion or video style or the way that you speak about books. No 2 people are going to be the same. So do you. Make that bookish content. Alright, we have made it to the end of this video. If you don't have anything to comment or leave me a little heart hand emoji below in hopes that I hit my goals for 2025, my bookish goals for 2025. If you like this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so that you don't miss an upload from me. And if you are enjoying the content that I'm providing here on my channel, please share with your friends and family and your bookish buddies so that we can continue to grow this community. And that's all. I will see you in the next one. Bye!